Why do masters of ceremonies tend to change their accent when they need to speak to an audience? Why do they need to modify their accents to speak like an American, to speak like a Briton? They just generally modify their accents when they are speaking to an audience. Does that make you cringe? Yes, it makes an audience cringe. And that's what we're talking about today in this video. Why an MC should not modify his or her accent when he or she is addressing an audience. Let's get right into this video. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm doing this one while driving. I'm maintaining safety. You can be sure of that. But thank you very much for being a part of the channel. While you're here, welcome. I'm speaking to MCs and public speakers. I'm talking about communication and leadership. And so if any of this interests you, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. You could also tell me about this video as we get to the end of it. Today, we're talking to MCs and public speakers who tend to modify their accents when they are speaking publicly. Believe it or not, just recently, and if you check my social media feed, you will find someone who was applauding me and appreciating me because I did not modify my natural accent when I was speaking as a master of ceremony. And that is something that reflects authenticity when you're able to maintain your real accent.
My name is Grace Ajiga, and I met HRH for the first time. Am I calling him right? Yes. For the first time today at the Blonde Closeout meeting. And I thought that his work was superb. First, I love the fact that he speaks clearly. I love the fact that he's straight on point. There are not too many words when he's speaking, and then he keeps his audience. Lastly, and what I felt was the icing on the cake for his work, is that he keeps his Nigerian accent. I just loved that about him. So I called him to commend him, and I think he's doing a very good job. Thank you.
So let me talk to the MCs right now. Modifying your accent as a master of ceremonies tends to reduce your authenticity. It takes away your authenticity. You know what it means when you modify your accent? It tells your audience you're not comfortable with your natural accent. And that would reduce your authenticity before your audience. And so many times when I see MCs modifying their accents, it speaks to something deeper than just modifying their accent. It speaks to their view about themselves, what they think about themselves and their craft. And so if you're an MC and this is a challenge you're having, you've gotten such feedback where people tell you you're modifying your accent, I think you need to do some soul searching, search deep down within your soul and your heart and find out why you may be insecure about your accent and why you think you need to speak with a different accent for you to be able to connect with your audience. Another challenge with modifying your accent as a master of ceremonies is that it could put your audience off. Yes, it becomes a cringe-worthy presentation when a master of ceremonies is speaking with an accent. Your audience will tend to cringe when they find out that this is not your real accent. And the unfortunate part about all of this is for a good number of people who tend to modify their accent, they haven't even been abroad. They've not spent significant time overseas. They've not really had first-hand experience with speaking in such accents. Just probably from movies and from TV, they've been able to learn how to speak with a modified accent, and they go do it on a public platform while emceeing an event. And that just reduces authenticity and it puts your audience off. And I speak against that. I encourage MCs to speak with their natural accents. I also encourage MCs to be able to speak clearly. Your goal should be to speak clearly. Your goal should be to speak with a clear voice, to communicate with your audience that they hear you clearly and they understand what you're trying to say, as much as it has an entertainment value to it. That should be your goal as a master of ceremonies. Communicate clearly, ensure your audience understand what you're saying, and connect with your audience. And so, as a master of ceremonies, you don't need to modify your accent to be able to achieve this. Instead, what I would say is that you speak clearly. And sometimes speaking clearly just means opening your mouth a little wider so that you can pronounce every word clearly. It means emphasizing or enunciating the consonants in your words. Instead of you want to say best, make sure you pronounce the letter T at the end, best. And so these are things that you can do to ensure your communication is clearer. Other things you can do as a master of ceremony, instead of modifying your accent, is use pauses. Just like that. Pause for effect. When you make a point, you can pause for a moment. Don't use word pause fillers. Just pause and let that point sink in. Let your audience understand what you just said. I remember an event I hosted just recently where a professor came up to say, speaking to the audience in her opening remarks, and told the audience, relax. And I came up after her and I said, have you ever heard a professor tell you, relax? And I paused at that moment. And honestly, the audience got it. They got it at that moment. Wow. And a professor telling you as a people to relax, I mean, it means you should relax. That's what that message was all about. Should relax. So use pauses instead of rushing through your words. Sometimes you would need to speak slower just to emphasize a point. You don't do it through everything you're speaking or you're saying, but at some point that you want your audience to connect with something specific that you're making, a point that you're making specifically, you can slow it down at that point. And then your audience understands with your tonal variety, with the variety of the tone that you use to speak, they can understand that you're trying to emphasize a point. That is far better than modifying your accent as a master of ceremonies. One thing a master of ceremonies can do to improve your communication instead of modifying your accent is to have a better command of the language that you're speaking, the language that you are emceeing in. Whether it is in English or any other language, it's important that you have a better command of that language. And when you do have a better command of that language, you are going to be able to find a wider vocabulary to make your points to your audience. And so you could find several other adjectives that describe the same thing. Several adjectives to describe one singular thing. You could use short stories to describe one singular thing. All of these are tools that you can use as a master of ceremonies to improve your communication without modifying your accent. All right? That's something you can do. So a better command of English, a better command of the language that you are speaking, and this calls for constant learning and relearning. The dictionary on my phone, the dictionary app that I have on my phone, is able to pronounce words for me. Yes, over the internet, you can press play and it pronounces the words for me. And that's something you can try. You can try ensuring that you are learning new words and learning correct pronunciation of words, and that would give you far better authenticity as a master of ceremonies other than modifying your accent. I hope this video has helped you. If it has, please give me a like. If you want to have a conversation, drop a comment down there. And please do subscribe to the channel. My name is HRH. I am Africa's finest MC and events virtuoso, and I'm glad that I'm able to serve you in this manner. Bye.